Along the border are painted statues and plants, mirroring the real ones in the garden. Hunt scenes were a popular motif, also used to decorate the small interior garden in the house of the Chei. So the decoration on walls and floors in the main public quarters would have served not only to create a pleasant living environment, but also to impress visitors. Visitors seem to have been present in most areas of the house. Many of the small rooms off the atrium are traditionally referred to as cubicula or bedrooms. But literary sources suggest that they had a wide range of uses, including greeting guests or conducting small business meetings. Further rooms were often situated in an upper story, like this one, which is still preserved in the House of the Lovers, although we don't know what the rooms were used for. In this house, the service quarters were grouped along one side of the peristyle. The more functional rooms of the house were usually separated in some way from the more public living quarters. How this was achieved varies from house to house. Here the service quarters consist of storerooms, some with internal windows onto the court, and probably used for storing foodstuffs to be consumed by the household. Next door is a kitchen with a raised work surface where food was prepared. And in the far corner of the peristyle, a lavatory with a narrow window to the outside. In the house of the Vetii, a service court leads off the atrium. The first room is a smaller atrium and may originally have been part of a separate house. Overlooking the impluvium is a lararium or shrine. Beyond the second atrium are a kitchen and storeroom. There's little decoration in these functional rooms, apart from the shrine, a focus for domestic worship by the household. This shrine displays symbols of cult worship. A snake, here associated with the Genius, or spirit of the household, who's shown here flanked by household gods, or lares. Images on other shrines reveal an Egyptian influence. This one in the House of the Golden Cupids shows the goddess Isis, with the gods Serapis, and on the left Anubis. These decorative themes reflect the breadth of cultural influences on the household. Also in the House of the Golden Cupids is this more traditional lararium. Its design reflects the architecture of public buildings. The use of columns, pediments, and monumental facades is also seen in wall paintings. The illusion possibly evoking in the visitor the feeling that this space is more than just a private house. In a room off the peristyle in the House of the Vetii, this Illusionist painting is juxtaposed with panels showing scenes from Greek mythology and literature. The infant Hercules wrestling with snakes. Circe and the bull. And Pentheus ripped apart by the Bacchae. order to understand the scenes depicted, a viewer would have to know the stories, and this is a statement about the educated status of the householder, or the image he wished to project. It's often difficult to identify the actual householders at Pompeii. But it's believed that this man, Pacius Proculus, owned this house. It's interesting to speculate on what he was like by looking at the architectural features. Here we have a richly decorated entrance, a large open atrium, with views through tablinum to peristyle, stairs to an upper story, an apparent lack of curbicula, and an elaborate, predominantly black and white, mosaic floor. Around the impluvium, the mosaic creates the illusion of arches, framing nautical images, such as anchors and dolphins, as well as depicting exotic wildlife. Beyond are two tablina, each with a decorative hearth, leading to a grand peristyle garden with fountains. All these suggest that Pacius Proculus was a man of wealth and status. In the context of Pompeii, the houses of the elite were used to create and display personal identity. But what about houses in other areas of the empire? To what extent were they also used to create personal identities? And how did those identities differ from those being created by the inhabitants of Pompeii? To address these questions, we'll be looking at housing from 4 different cities in Asia and the Roman province of Africa.